The grand chamber of the Coalition of Sentient Worlds sat in the hollowed core of a dead moon. Its walls grown from living crystal that pulsed faint blue with every voice that echoed through it. 700 delegates. 41 species. One agenda item that had dragged on for 6 brutal months. Whether Earth, barely 11 years into coalition membership, deserved a permanent seat on the Security Council. Ambassador Elena Voss stood at the human podium, exhausted. She had spent the morning defending humanity's colonization record, its war history, its emotional volatility, a phrase the KRYN delegation used like a slur. She had spent the afternoon listening to species after species question whether a race so young, so unstable, so sentimental, belonged at the table where galactic decisions were made. Then came the report. The Vess outpost, a human mining colony on the edge of coalition space, had been hit by a pirate raid 3 days earlier. 41 colonists dead. Voss had known several of them personally. She had trained with 2 of them at the academy. When the casualty numbers were read aloud, flat, procedural, filed under incidental losses, non-coalition territory dispute, something in her cracked. She didn't shout. She didn't storm out. She cried, quietly, standing at the podium in front of the entire galaxy. An Ambassador Keltheros of the Dren Compact. A species whose biology had no tear ducts, no grief response, no concept of mourning a stranger, leaned toward his aide and laughed. Not a cruel laugh by his own species standards. To the Dren, laughter simply meant inefficiency observed. But the translation drones caught it, broadcast it, and every delegate in that chamber heard the sound of Earth's grief being treated as a punchline. For 4 full seconds, nobody moved. For seconds doesn't sound like much. In the Grand Chamber, for seconds of total silence had only happened twice before in recorded history, once during a declaration of war, and once during the funeral broadcast of a coalition founder. Voss didn't respond to the laugh. She didn't need to, because human delegations weren't the only ones in that room who understood what had just happened. The Calvex ambassador, a species who had fought beside human marines during the Threshold Crisis 8 years prior, rose slowly from his seat. He didn't address Voss. He addressed Keltheros directly, in the old formal dialect reserved for accusations of dishonor. You laughed, he said, at a species that bled beside mine when your compact refused to send a single ship. The chamber's translation system struggled to keep up as 3 more delegations stood, not out of alliance with Earth, but out of something colder, recalculation. Species across the galaxy had spent a decade filing humans under emotionally erratic, tactically unpredictable, best avoided in high-stakes negotiation. That file was about to get a very expensive rewrite. Because here is the thing about the Dren Compact that Keltheros had forgotten in that moment of misplaced amusement. They had built their entire diplomatic strategy on being the rational species. The species who never let feeling cloud judgment. The species everyone trusted precisely because they seemed incapable of pettiness. And they had just watched their senior ambassador humiliate a grieving delegate over dead colonists. Live, in front of the galaxy's most watched broadcast feed. Voss wiped her face. She did not apologize for crying, a detail 3 separate historians would later note as the actual turning point of the session. Instead, she asked the chamber speaker for the floor. She got it. Nobody objected. Nobody dared. I want to thank Ambassador Keltheros, she said. And the chamber went even quieter, because that was not the sentence anyone expected. For 11 years, this coalition has debated whether humanity is fit to sit among you, whether our feelings make us unstable, whether we grieve too loudly, love too fiercely, fight too personally to be trusted with power. Today, Ambassador Keltheros gave you your answer for free. He showed you what a species looks like when it has no grief at all. No tears, no mourning, no pause, even for a moment at 41 dead strangers. You have spent 6 months asking if humanity's emotions are a liability. I would ask you instead, what is a species worth if it cannot recognize loss when it sees it? She let that sit. Then she delivered the line that would be clipped, translated, and replayed across 41 homeworlds within the hour. We cried because we understood the cost. He laughed because he didn't. I'll let you decide which species you want holding a council seat when the next crisis calls for judgment. The vote on Earth's Security Council seat had been scheduled for the following week. It happened that same evening instead, brought forward by an emergency motion filed by 4 separate delegations who no longer wanted to be seen deliberating. Earth won the seat. Not narrowly, decisively. 29 votes in favor, 6 abstentions, and the Dren Compact's own delegation split down the middle, half of them voting for humanity in what analysts later called the clearest act of internal damage control in Coalition history. Keltheros was recalled within 72 hours. Not punished exactly, the Dren didn't work that way. Simply, quietly retired from public diplomacy. His name scrubbed from future briefing rotations. His career ended by a single unscripted laugh that the galaxy would not stop replaying. Voss never mentioned him again publicly. She didn't have to. The footage did the work for her. 41 worlds watching a grieving woman turn her worst moment into humanity's strongest argument. Live, without preparation, without a script. There's an old human saying the Coalition adopted into its formal glossary after that session, translated into 600 languages across the galaxy. Don't mistake a species' tears for weakness. Ask what it takes to earn them. Ambassador Keltheros learned that lesson once. He never got the chance to laugh twice.